So this is a blue-red aggro deck in Mythgard. There are 6 different colors. So one of the things that I like about Mythgard is because it has different colors in it, similar to Magic, unlike games like Hearthstone, this game captures a lot of the deck building depth that Magic has while still getting rid of the kind of annoying resource variant that Magic has. So the way you play cards in this game is you take them and you burn them back into your deck. So for example, I have 2 1-drops here, and I don't really want to play another 1-drop after the first turn of the game. So I'm going to take one of these pups, and I'm going to drag it down here, and it's going to turn into a total resource and a red gem here. And then when I deploy something out onto the board, I get to go ahead and play it out on one of these 7 lanes. And the way combat in this game works is things only attack or block the 3 lanes in front of them. So because my unit was deployed over here, when my opponent attacked with this unit, it couldn't attack my thing here. Now, one of the things that this game does, the way the combat differs from Magic, is if there is something in front of your unit in one of those 3 spaces that can attack, you are obligated to attack one of their blockers as opposed to you're obligated to attack one of their blockers as opposed to attacking their face directly. So this 2/2 here with Rush is like haste, it gets to attack right away. I can't attack their face, I have to attack their thing, which attacking their thing here is like pretty okay for me because it lets me eat their 1/1. So damage does not leave units at the end of turns. This is permanently a 2/1 unless I have something to heal it, which this deck does not heal any of its own units. So my deck tends to be aggressive. So the positional elements of this game tend to add a lot of depth to the gameplay. So when you're playing aggressive decks, generally speaking, you want to take your units and spread them out. So that way they're harder to block. So your opponent can't just play one thing and stunt all of your attackers. So for example, my opponent played a 2/6 here, which is like pretty big. But I still get to hit them in the face over here because this doesn't have a blocker in front of it. Whereas this 2/1, I don't get to attack them anymore because they're 2/6s in the way. You can see when I mouse over here, it tells me that my thing would die and theirs would take 2. So I'm not gonna make that attack because if I make this attack in, this can just hit my face next turn. Whereas if they want to kill my thing with this, I want them to have to attack it. I'm gonna play my other 2/3 out over here so that way it's far away from their potential blocker. And I'm gonna pass the turn. This card's a good example of the resource system in Mythgard. It requires 3 total resources to play, but it also requires that I explicitly have 3 red gems. So even though I had 3 resources last turn, I couldn't play this card because I only have 2 red available. So I'll need to burn 1 more red card before I can play this out. They played a 3/3 here that stuns the thing across from it when it comes into play. So this is stunned, so it currently can't attack. I'm going to go ahead and hit their face with this, I think. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just burn a red card and play this Ichor Feast out. So just like draw 3, lose 3. And again, I have 1 resource available, but I can't play either of these 1-drops because I only have a blue gem remaining. So I'm going to go ahead and pass back. Yeah, the threshold restrictions are a really elegant way to do a resource system because they allow, the threshold restrictions allow you to have cost reductions on cards without having things get really obnoxious because you still have to meet the threshold requirements to play them. It's similar to Hex, but not quite the same. So in Hex, you don't use up thresholds the way you use them up in this game. So in Hex, free cards could get really obnoxious with cost reduction because of that. Yeah, Magmataur is about to be great. So Magmataur here is a 5-drop that when it comes into play, it deals 3 damage to everything in the opposing 3 lanes. So my opponent's going to get a little bit punished for tucking this in between these. So when I deploy this, it's going to kill their stuff here.
Flame, take you.
This card here utilizes the energy mechanic, and the way energy works in this game is it's kind of, if you're a Magic player, you kind of think of it as Planeswalker loyalty. It's a counter that's tied to this specific card, and then it goes up or down based on different game actions that you take with the card. So this card gains an energy to give something Blight 1, which means it slowly dies. It does come up a lot, Ziggs. It makes your sequencing a lot, have a lot more going on to it. All right, so, one thing to note is when you burn a card, it goes back into your deck. As opposed to, it goes back into your deck as opposed to just being gone forever. This card is faded and dark, and the reason for that is it's already been burned. So I can't burn this card a second time. I think I'm just supposed to go ahead and give them the clap here. This deals 2 damage to all of their stuff, so it finishes off this guy and turns this down to a 3/1. And I think I'm going to go ahead and play a pup out over here. And then the other question is, do I want to burn something this turn? I think that I do. The question is, if I burn something, do I want to burn one of my more powerful cards and then play the 1-drop, or do I want to burn the 1-drop? I kind of think I want to play the 1-drop out. Of course, if I burn one of these, yeah, I'm just gonna burn the 1-drop off here. So this puts me to 6 resources, so I can play 2 3-drops next turn, which is appealing. One of the things that's really nice about the resource system in this game is in these lower curve, more aggressive decks like this, you can just choose to stop playing resources at some point. So this deck that I'm playing tends to want to get between 5 and 7 resources, depending on what cards that it draws, whereas mid-range and control decks typically want to burn all the way up to 10 cards. Hey, Mazas, thanks for the 3 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So they played Wake the Bones, basically Raise Dead, picked one of their things back up from their bin, and it gives it Ephemeral, which basically means if the card dies again, it goes away forever. So the downside to deciding next turn Ruin is it doesn't give me the option to get to 7 next turn, and I might want to get to 7 next turn. So they played a 1/5 over here, which this actually works out pretty well for me. So I'm going to go ahead and go Ironbelly here. Attack this for 3. This takes 1 and survives. Play another Ironbelly here. Attack this for 3. It takes 1 and survives. So there's a lot of depth in the deck building in this game, which is one of the things that's allowed it to keep my attention. You might have noticed a couple of units have jumped up from my discard pile here. And the reason why they're doing that is when you build the deck, you pick what's called a path to go with it. And the path not only impacts your starting life total, but also gives you some kind of added effect. So this is one that aggressive creature-based decks tend to play. It says, whenever one of your non-ephemeral minions dies, you collect a soul. And then when at the start of your turn, if you have 3 souls, the bottom creature in your discard pile pops back up to your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Soul Shepherd out here. And the Soul Shepherd says, whenever one of our minions dies, I get a 2/1. So this is going to go ahead and trade here, and then it creates a 2/1 for my hand. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and burn off Trapezists here. And then I'm going to play this Forlorn Spirit out over here. Thanks for the 40 months, Griffin. Yeah, the core Vorthos of this game, I believe, would be described as cyberpunk. It's got some magic and mythical elements to it, but it also has some technology mixed in. So that's a 10/10. That's a big boy. Huh. So, thinking. This currently hits this for 3. And when it dies, I get a Forlorn Spirit. Wings of Abaddon is a 4/1 that can sacrifice another one of my units to become immortal till end of turn. It also has Rush. So I'm going to play this Forlorn Spirit out here. And then I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice it, which triggers this to give me another one. And then this can hit this down to 2. Maybe I'm supposed to hit their face here. I'm going to go ahead and trade this off here. So I get another Forlorn Spirit from this. I'm going to burn this here and play a Forlorn Spirit out over this way.
Come play.
So this has Overrun. So it can kill my thing. They can trade with my thing and trample over to me for a bunch, but then I'm going to create another Forlorn Spirit from the Soul Shepherd. This card gives us a good bit of longevity in the mid to late game, which is sweet. My health total taking a hit kind of sucks because it means my Ichor Feast is going to be a bit worse because my health total is going to be lower. So like losing 3 is a little bit more of a cost, but they're also at 13 as well. So we could just pressure them out of this game, depending on what the rest of their stuff looks like here. Let's them pick a spell back up from their discard pile. Is there anything too scary in here? Not really. I guess they can pick back up Wake the Bones. But like... So now they can pick this back up next turn. What's a standard action? A standard action is a move or attack action. So this can let something I have in play attack an additional time for the turn. Oh, wow, that's really good. Oh, speaking of really good, though. So Oak here says, whenever one of my minions dies, they take 1 and I gain 1. So let's go ahead and say, attack you for 2, play the Oak out down here, play Forlorn Spirit, play this, attack you for 1. So now if they want to kill my stuff, when they kill my stuff, I get a thing here, and they take 1 and I gain 1. Oh, Wonder Drug. Maybe I shouldn't have attacked for 2 there. This is a card that I should be thinking about to play around. It says if you have 8 life or less, you gain 8 and draw 2 cards. So if I would have left them at 9, they wouldn't have been able to double this up there. I think we're potentially still okay, but that is a lot of life. So I assume what we're going to see here is this 3/3 is going to kill this, and then this is going to kill this. Because this has Lurker, which means they have to attack other minions around it first. They have to kill this before this can attack this. Wonder Drug is super powerful. Wait, what? Oh, does Defender overrule Lurker? Defender overrules Lurker. Oh, that makes sense. So this gives the minion Defender, which says you have to attack Defender minions first. Okay. Interesting. Queen of Tides might let us punk them out, depending on how they sequence their potential blockers here. Because this can give something a standard action, which means we can potentially attack with this 3 times next turn. If we draw something, we can burn. So I can, like, play this. Or are we just dead? Am I just about to get Volitioned out of the game? No, I guess this has to attack here. This game is just incredibly interactive. There's just so many decision points. I think a variety of the colors are really strong. I think green and purple overall tend to be a little bit weaker than some of the others. But in general, I think all of the colors have a good mix of things going on. They're running out of time here. I think they're dead. There are 6 colors in this game. 2/6 is really good. All right, so what am I doing? So these, so I go 4, and then 2, and then this attacks here. The tree hits them for 1. This eats this. No, this eats this. The tree hits them for 1. This kills this. This goes here. The tree hits them for 1. I burn this. And I can go queen, give this a standard action twice and kill them. Sick. So this can pay 2 and spend a blue gem as many times as I have the resources to do that to give something an extra attack. That's actually the first time I've ever burned past 8 in this deck. Yeah, this card seems super sweet. I was looking for one more blue card for this deck, and I was looking at mythics I hadn't crafted yet. And that one definitely jumped out to me. What's my faction mission, by the way? I left my faction mission on the wrong one. What a tilt. Could have been farming vampire damage. If you're playing this game and you're interested in free to playing or just earning extra rewards after you build a deck, definitely going through these faction missions is one of the best way to do this. I'm just like loosely working at them. You can actively work towards completing them. You can do these in single player games too, I believe. Basically, you just have to do specific things that the different colors tend to do, and then you get extra currency and stuff. If you're interested in trying this game, but you don't want to dump dollars in to try something, one of the things that they do that's great is every account has 2 what are called feature decks assigned to it. And what these are decks that highlight interesting mechanics in the game and are reasonably competitive that you can play in both ranked and unranked against other people without owning any of the cards in them. So they really allow you to like get a feel for the game without spending any money on it first. So you can know if it's something that you enjoy before you dive in. The feature decks come from a pool of like 30-ish decks, so every different player has different feature decks. So you're not just playing a bunch of mirror matches either in the lower ranks, which I think is really well done overall.
Reporting.
This card's really good against us. It's a 2-1 that makes a 1-1, so it's a lot of good blockers. I'm going to go ahead and burn Panic Raider to start here and play Strigoi Pup out over this way, where they can't block it currently. Thunderclap should be good at clearing out some of their stuff. This does 2 damage not only to my opponent, but also every minion they control. Give them the clap if you would. How many missions are there for each faction? Are there 11? That's a lot. I've not completed any of them.
Do we have a mission?
Oh, I think my opponent's playing Rainbow Root, looks like. I'm gonna burn Bragi to start, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and play Trapezists over here, and my Trapezists can eat their 1-1, and then this can eat their 0-1. Serpentin is very, very good against us. It makes them a snake every turn. So this is what's called a lane enchantment. It occupies a specific lane and then gives an added effect in that lane. So this one here creates a 1-1 every single turn if this is empty, which is very good against my aggressive deck. I'm going to burn the Trapezists here. I'm going to play Panic Raider out over this way. Panic Raider is a 2-2 with Rush that every time it hits my opponent, it gets smaller. I lose a life and I draw a card, which is quite good. The Night Angels deck ended up being kind of medium. It kind of just felt like a bad version of Gruul. It was like doing very similar things to Gruul with like worse top end. Or like unnecessary top end, I guess is a better way to phrase it.
What do you seek?
Did the overlay unload itself? Whoop. The overlay should be active again. Thanks for the heads up. So Thane's actually a good draw here. It allows me to burn another blue card without having to burn a thunderclap, so I can clap them the next 2 turns now. Yeah, I just re-enabled the overlay after they told me it wasn't working. Go ahead and hit them for 2 here. Just eking out some damages slowly. Next turn I can play Magmataur here to clear out this snake. This thing divinations, and then if it loses an energy every time we draw a card. If they eventually get to 5, it does very, very rude things. I only have a singular soul, because none of my things have really died yet. Okay, magmataur is about to look very reasonable here. I'm gonna get to magmataur here on this lane, which will kill both of these.
Reporting.
It's a shame they didn't put this one over. Magnuson's good. It's gonna allow me to keep doing some AoE damage. I think I'm gonna go ahead and burn wings here because it's not great against their X1s anyways, and I want the flexibility to play trapezists as a double card turn.
Flame, take you.
I don't know. I think I kind of want to just ignore this card, Pelly. Maybe I can't afford to because it's going to ultimate here in a second. I've actually never seen this card ult. I don't know. Like, depending on what they deploy down over here, like, next turn I get to, like, clap plus trapezists and, like, hit them for 7, 8, 9. So if they don't have another big blocker for over here, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Mission.
At last.
Yeah, connecting with Panic Raiders, like, easier said than done, though. And that could potentially let us steal this game down the line. So I'm going to go ahead and give them... So let's give them the clap. I think I'm actually burning Magnus here. They're down to 6 now.
Reporting.
Yeah, this game's made by an actual small indie company. Okay, I've actually never seen a brand happen. Oh, they had a way to draw a card right away. Oh no, wait, they just made a 1/1. Okay. Huh? So, what am I doing here? They're so close to dead, chat. So I get to do this, and I get to go do this here, trade here, this eats here, this goes here, and I put them to 1. I'm gonna discard this card to this next turn, but just we're so close. We're so close. All right, I'm done. I wonder if I missed a point of damage anywhere. Whenever I finish a game at 1, it's always just like, did I miss? Like, could I have min-maxed something? Always remember, if you want to tell me I did something wrong, you got to tell me why it was wrong. Otherwise, you're going to take a 10-minute break for just being rude. I frequently make mistakes on stream, but if you're not helping me, they cast Wonder Drug, Pelly. I conceded to Wonder Drug. I definitely would have kept playing with them at 1. But they cast Wonder Drug.
Let's feed.
Oh, is this the yellow-green person we played against earlier? I think I'm burning Ichor since I have Panic Raider to draw cards with down the line. I'm gonna deploy Firesong over here. This is an 0/3 that it gains a toughness every turn, and they can drain 3 toughness off it to draw a card. So even though it's going to absorb 2 damage, I do want to kill this next turn. Just to, like, prevent it from generating more card advantage down the line. Preventing a future card draw, I think, is better than dealing 2 extra points of damage. Burn the Thane and play Panic Reader in the middle. What you can see here for my positioning is pretty typical aggressive deck setup. You want to put your first 3 units on lanes 1, 4, and 7. So the reason why I didn't want to play Trapezists to hit the maze is because they were going to Summer, which would have healed it. So they would have still gotten to draw a card with it. So because they were on Spring going to Summer, that wasn't ideal. So I'm going to hit them for 2 here. I'm going to hit them for 2 here. And then I'm going to go ahead and burn Bragi, I think. I'm going to go ahead and deploy Wings of Abaddon here, which can eat my 2/2. And then this is immortal, so it can kill this. I've never gotten to full Panic Raider on Giant Stairway. But yeah, if you can have this, maybe it'll happen this game, huh? It's kind of like the dream, just make this huge and then get to hit them for a bunch and draw a bunch of cards. So turn 5 is when yellow has access to a sweeper. So on my opponent's next turn, they could clear the board, so I might want to avoid deploying more units. Giant Stairway is actually great for that because it's an enchantment that gives the occupying minion +3/+3, so it allows me to add more pressure to the table without committing more resources into a potential sweeper. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and burn this. And now the question becomes, how do I want to get set up here? So I'm definitely hitting them with this. The question is, do I want a Giant Stairway here to potentially draw more cards? Or do I want a Giant Stairway here to kill through this? I probably just want to kill through this, huh? Well, I think I just, like, don't want... I think I just, like, don't want them to, I don't want to, like, sit there and not do anything with my unit. Like, taking a turn off isn't great, basically. That's true. If I don't... Actually, this destroys enchantments, right? So I definitely want to kill it. It destroys enchantments before attacking through them. Will there be another Mythgard deck today? Yeah, I think so. Are you okay? You just passed up drawing more cards. I know. It's tough. So this can stun something. So they're going to stun my Giant Stairway thing. Yep. All right, so I'm going to hit them for 2 here. I'm going to play my second Wings out over this way. I'm going to burn this Thane. I'm going to Trapezist, hit them for 2. I'm gonna eat the Trapezists. I'm gonna kill their thing here. We have 3 souls gathered, so my firesong prodigy is gonna pop back up to my hand next turn. If we can avoid if they don't have Misanthropia here, they should be pretty dead. And they didn't burn a yellow card, so that means this isn't Misanthropia, because Misanthropia is triple yellow. The flavor text, flying into your face with the greatest of ease. That is excellent flavor text. Murmur is good. What is Murmur? Not familiar with which card that's referencing.
There are always consequences.
Oh, traitorous murmur. Not really, because this would die. If they murmured this, this would just die. We're in Wonder Drug range at this point. So this deals a damage to them when it dies. I think I'm going to hold on to this in case they have a big blocker and just pass the turn here. This already attacked, right? Yeah, it just has the ability to sacrifice something. So they're at less than 9, so that means Wonder Drug gives them 8 life. That being said, if they Wonder Drug, they're not sweeping my board. And I have a ton of power in play, so like they really need Misanthropia here to clean up. Gonna be in a lot of trouble without that card. And this basically being a hard removal spell, dealing up to 6 here, up to 7 if I burn a card. Does Mythgard have its own variation of mill/control decks? Yeah, there's control decks in this game. If you check, just like for my Magic stuff, basically everything I stream for Mythgard gets cut up by deck and thrown up on the YouTube channel. So they're going to try and hit Misanthropia here, I assume, with this draw too, because they can burn a yellow card and then sweep. There are a lot of sweepers in this game. Almost every color has access to different hard or soft sweepers in different manners. There's the sweeper, so Misanthropia. This kills all my stuff. So this gives all my minions Blight 3, which means at the start of my turn, they all get -3, -3. I'm going to take an Ichor Feast. Are they dead? They're almost dead. So I get to play Panic Raider here.
Got anything good?
Which this does 5, and then it gets to hit them and draw a card. I'm actually short a red threshold of killing them here. If I had another red threshold, I could play this and then ignition them, but I don't currently have another red threshold.
To battle!
Wanna burn?
So they're at 2. Wonder Drug's really powerful and could drag them kicking and screaming out. That being said, I'm getting a soul back next turn, right? Yeah, because they killed 3 of my things. So my Panic Raider is going to pop back up from my discard pile next turn. So I've got a lot of resources. I think even if they have Wonder Drug, we're in a good spot. Especially with Panic Raider popping back up out of the bin. Yeah, I agree, Violet Journey. I agree that the color management in this game, a lot of the decisions in this game in general just feel like they seek to mitigate a lot of the feel bad instances that are pretty common in Magic. This hand's great. I'm going to go ahead and burn one of my 3 drops to start here because I don't need 3 3s. Drop my Stroggy Pup over here.
Let's feed.
If you ever miss what card your opponent burned for the turn, something I don't think I pulled up yet today if you're new here, there's an in-game deck tracker, so I can click over here and see that my opponent burned an Armageddon Angel as their first card. When you burn a card, it gets inserted randomly back into your deck, but guaranteed not the top card.
Hey there.
Yep, that's a 2-3. So my power, which I actually don't think I've used yet today, for 2 resources, I give something 1 extra attack till end of turn. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here and attack in. Then I think I'm again going to go ahead and burn a 3-drop and play this out over here.
Let's feed.
Yep, there's also a game action log over here so you can see what's going on. Top left, a little bit covered by my overlay on my Twitch thing, but in game you can see it very clearly. I'm playing an orange-blue deck, looks like. Sure. It's a 4/4 that says whenever they draw a card, they lose life. So, a little bit of a roadblock, but not necessarily strictly bad for us. I'm gonna play this in the middle. This gives my opponent the ability to slide this over with their hero power and then attack it, but I think I'm okay with that. Now I gotta decide what I want to burn. What I want to burn is gonna be dictated by which direction I think I want to take this game in. I think I want to keep the firesong prodigy because it creates an ignition, and this 4/4 is gonna hit my 2/1 most likely, and then the ignition finishes off the 4/4. It might be right to just ditch the soul shepherd. Although if I can get her down on 5 and then make some trades, she's pretty reasonable, but she's kind of expensive overall. And I have Oak as well. I think I'm not quite ready for the Soul Shepherd yet. I'm going to go ahead and burn that one. Definitely want to play a resource for the turn, I think. Thunderclap. Well, that's like the worst possibles. Speaking of sweepers. Speaking of possibles, though, Magmataur is great. It's a 3/3 that when it comes into play, it deals 3 damage. And their thing's currently fragile, so it's going to die here.
Take you.
So, they clapped all my stuff, but had a little bit of a comeback here. I have another soul yet still, so the Strogoi Pup's going to come back in a little bit. Blue-red feels like the Growl. Yeah, so it's fragile from their path, exactly. So their path rotates through doing 4 different things. 3 of them are bonuses for them, and 1 is a negative. So every 4 times they go to winter, which makes their things fragile. And actually, when you mouse, if you're ever confused where an effect's coming from on a card in this game, when you mouse over them, it tells you in the reminder text where that bonus is coming from, which is just quite superb. So I think I just give this an extra power and trade this here. And then I play Ironbelly over here and hit their face. I don't think I want to burn anything this turn. All 3 of my cards are like pretty reasonable. The overlay works that way too. That's fantastic. Yeah, the goat's real good. The goat got a solid upgrade in the last patch.
Yes.
Oh, that's brutal. I'm gonna burn the puppy and play Oak here and Firesong here.
Wanna burn?
The fact that my opponent has all of these deal 2 sweepers like we do is really good against our deck. A lot of our threats are kind of tiny. Yeah, I don't think that changes the fact that, like, they Wonder Drug and then I still can't win the game. Who knocks? Like, Wonder Drug put the game against the Rainbow deck firmly out of reach for us.
Fire. To battle. Stone.
Oh, I actually can't Giant Stairway because of my resources, huh? I was thinking I want to Giant Stairway something here, but that's actually not an option. Awkward. I think I'm gonna start by Ichor Feasting then. See where we go from there. I'm gonna burn a Thane so I can Stairway down the line. I think I'm gonna go ahead and Ironbelly here and trade these off, which takes them 1 from the Oak. This can deal 2, and then I can't play anything because I'm out of red gems. No point in attacking in here because my guy would just die, so I want to waste their turn attacking this. When this dies, I get to look at my top 3 cards and then draw cards. That's nice. Clap is kind of absurd here, right? It finishes off their 6/1. and also clears out potential blockers down over here. And then Clap in conjunction with Ignition can finish off Magnus. What's my next card that's going to pop back up? A Panic Raider. I think I have two souls at the moment. So if this dies, I get a Panic Raider back. And they're at 10 now, and they're not playing yellow, so I don't have to play around Wonder Drug, which is great. I'm at 12. I'm going to 8 from this attack, so it is important that I, like, stabilize my life total a little bit. This also just, like, does 2 to my opponent in addition to clapping all their units, which is great for us.
At last.
Reporting.
Oh, gosh, they're about to make that a 4-4, aren't they?
Do we have a mission?
If they use Pride on one of these, we're going to be in trouble. Okay, so... Yikes. Are they dead? They're not dead, but I can clean their board out, right? Which I think is what I need to do.
Let's feed.
So we're both at 8. I've got 3 souls gathered, so I'm going to get a Panic Raider back next turn.
Fortune favors us.
Nice, congrats, extras. The Harpy is very good, yep. Extract Life's like a perfect draw. So I get to go ahead and do this here. And then I get to play Panic Raider over here. And then Extract Life lets me kill this for Xaxes. And then I get to hit them and draw a card. Yeah, the artwork on orange. A lot of the artwork in general is good in this game, but in orange especially. Very pretty. I think I have to kill this 8/8, right? I'm one short. Stairway plus Ironbelly is only 6. Two souls. What's my next one coming back? A trapezist.
Wind and wisdom.
If they don't put a blocker over here, they're dead to wyvern plus power. They have a blocker. This thing gets bigger every time it hits me, right? Yeah.
Do we have a mission?
So, do I deploy this here? And then deploy this here. And then the question is, do I hit them for 3 or 4 over here? I think I hit them for 4. Just put them to 3. If they kill this, I get to pick Trapezists back up, which Trapezists plus my power is lethal. What? What does that card do? Dire. I don't know how to look at. I have to like go back and look at the replay or something. Is it fling? Is that what that card does? Alright, well, I gotta go look in. Is it just fling? Cast on a minion to deal damage to opposing player equal to its strength and lock its strength to 0. Weird. Alright, well I'm like never playing around this card in a million years, right? Pretty sure I'm happy with my play there. I think even if I know, and like they burned that at one point, so like if I'm paying more attention to what they burned, I could have known that that was going to be there as a potential option. But I think even if I look back on my decisions and like know that that's a play that they could make, my lines are still the same. Normally that card's a removal spell used on an opponent's thing to make its power 0. Oh, that's interesting. So you like have the opponent's thing deal damage to you one time and then its strength is locked to 0. That makes sense. So it's kind of flexible, right? It's not just a fling. It's a card that can be interactive too. Neat modal card. I was going to suggest Wyvern into the Gale plus Thiari as a blocker. Now, I think that's the wrong line, Hunox. My opponent's deck is a control deck, and I'm an aggro deck, so their average card quality is much higher than mine. So I think taking the line that I took that gives me the ability to kill them next turn through them removing my Wyvern is much better. I think in more situations, I end up winning with my line than with trying to play defensively there. Yeah, I think that's a really good, clean example of like playing to win versus playing to not lose. And like, obviously you don't always win the game when you take the correct line, but I'm pretty sure what I did was correct. I wish there was a revealed burn zone. There is for us. It actually showed that earlier. So if you go in the deck tracker here, you can see like my opponent just burned to Bename Falls. There's also a in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you can mouse over an action tracker. In-game deck tracker if you need to really look back, and there's also an action tracker in the top left. Yeah, like I've said, software-wise, this game's just, it's so well done. It's everything that you want to have done is done. It's like, this should be a thing that works this way. It's like, oh, it already works that way. Good. Is killing another one of... I couldn't do that. That wasn't an option. So, I think I'm supposed to get Wyvern going just to, like, pump the damage out here. Start with that as opposed to doing Panic Raider first. Yeah, new games like this can't just say, it's Magic, so the software sucks, but we play it because it's Magic. Like... You have to actually have good software to catch the eyes of new people in this industry. It's a tough industry to break into, and having good software is a good way to do it. The gameplay also has to be good, but it needs to be paired with software that's adequate.
Surprise!
It says Blight 1, and then when it eventually dies... Play my wings out over here and smack them 4/4. I think I just eat this now, right? So that way the virus doesn't spread. They're definitely a reanimator strategy. So disc plus green means reanimator 10 out of 10.
What is lost?
So hopeless necromantic here. Says if this dies, it gets replaced by the bottom minion of their boneyard, so they'll get Rizzy back if this dies. So I'd rather this didn't die. Not anything good. It's another Panic Reader. I'm gonna burn the Ichor piece for now since I have another Panic Reader.
To battle!
I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pass. Now, I don't really want to sack this, I don't think, because they can hero power over and hit this anyways. So I think I'd rather do this so that way it has to stay in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. If this picks something back up from their bin, does that count? Does that trigger Ben Mayfalls? I think it does, right? Yeah, they're using Impel as the power, which is different. Usually the Reanimator decks play a more static power.
Yes, yes. Brilliant.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Got anything good?
These blue decks are really good against us. Incredibly well positioned against what our decks are trying to do. It's been a tough set for this one today. We'll probably swap decks after this one and play something else for the last hour. Yes, Thane plus Stairway is very good for sure. They can hero power, slide this over, hit here. I think I'm okay with that exchange. I'm going to get to drop Magmataur down over here to finish this off next turn, which is nice. I guess having the Impel power makes it easier to get this to die, because they can move it around to chase things and trade. So I can do this here. I can extract life. This. I can hit you for 4. I want to trade this off so that way they don't have something to kill with this next turn. I'm at 0 souls at the moment. Game's probably going to be over before we can trigger that again. Oh, it has teleport.
Lost.
Yeah, you're super right. I should have just jumped it. I always forget that Wyvern has teleport. Yeah, so teleport means when it moves, it can move any number of spots, right? There, sweet. Couple different lethals. Couple different lethals. Alright, I am going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll and run to the restroom. But don't go anywhere. We're going to have more Mythgard coming up. When I get back, we're going to play another deck for an hour or so. So back in a few, folks. Thanks for hanging out today.